Hello, and a very warm welcome to Cognito Key. Today, we're going to tackle a skill that is, let's be honest, absolutely crucial for success in pretty much every single part of your life, and that is communication.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? You type out a message, you think it's crystal clear. You hit send, and then the reply you get makes you realize they've understood something completely different. It is so frustrating, right? But what if I told you there's a simple, proven framework to stop that from happening? Well, in this explainer, we're going to look at why communication breaks down. I'll introduce you to a fantastic checklist for success. We'll dive into how to craft your message and connect with your audience. And finally, we'll see how this all adds up to become your communication superpower.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Why do our messages go wrong? It's amazing, isn't it? Even with the best of intentions, a simple note can spiral into total confusion if we're not just a little bit careful. So how do we fix this? How do we get it right? Well, let me introduce you to the solution. It's a really powerful and, more importantly, practical framework known as the 7 C's of communication. Okay, so what exactly are the 7 C's? The best way to think of them is like a pilot's pre-flight checklist. It's something simple you can run through before you send any important message. And its whole purpose is to get rid of any doubt and make absolutely sure that what you mean is exactly what they understand. So what are they? They are clear, correct, complete, concrete, concise, consideration, and courteous. Now let's walk through each of these one by one. Okay, so the first few C's we're going to look at, they're all about the message itself. This is the core of what you're trying to say. And, getting this part right is the foundation for absolutely everything else. First up, clear. Now, this one is, you could argue it's the most important C of them all. Because really, if your message isn't easy to understand, then honestly, nothing else on this list is even going to matter. So how do you make your message clear? Simple. Focus on one single goal. Please, don't try to cram 3 different topics into one email. Keep each sentence focused on just one idea. It keeps things so much simpler and more direct for the person on the other end. All right, so your message is clear, fantastic. But it also has to be correct. And, this is all about your credibility. What does that mean? Well, for one, it means checking your spelling and grammar. It might seem small, but even tiny errors can really chip away at your credibility. It also means double-checking that your facts are accurate and making sure you're sending the message at just the right time for it to have the biggest impact. Okay, on to our third C, complete. Because think about it, a message can be perfectly clear and totally correct, but if you leave out a crucial piece of information, it's still going to fail, right? A complete message gives your audience everything they need. You want to try and anticipate their questions and answer them before they even have to ask. When you can do that, you're not just communicating, you're empowering them to make better, faster decisions. And that brings us to the 4th C for mastering your message, concrete. This is where we declare war on vague, fuzzy language. When your message is concrete, there is absolutely no room for misinterpretation. You're using specific facts and figures to back up what you're saying. So instead of saying something vague like sales went up, you say, sales increased by 15% last quarter. See the difference? It makes your message solid, believable. And this really just drives home the power of these principles. As our source material points out, correct messages have a greater impact. It's as simple as that. They build trust and they make sure your point lands exactly the way you want it to. Okay, so we've spent some time crafting the perfect message, but let's remember communication is a two-way street. It's not just about us. So now let's shift our focus to the final 3 C's, which are all about the person on the receiving end, your audience. Number 5 is all about being concise. Let's face it, in today's world, everyone is busy and attention spans are short. The best way to respect someone's time? Get straight to the point. Being concise really just means being precise. So no more long, rambling sentences. Here's a little challenge for you. Try to say what you need to say in the fewest possible words, without, of course, losing the meaning. This is absolutely key if you want to hold on to their attention. Next up, we have consideration, and this one is really all about empathy. It's about taking a moment to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So to be considerate, you really have to think about your receiver. Ask yourself,
What's their background? What do they already know about this topic? What's their perspective likely to be? When you tailor your message with them in mind, you're showing them that you're not just talking at them, you're involved and you value their perspective. And that brings us to our final C, courteous. This one is all about the tone and the overall feeling of your message. At its heart, it's about respect. A courteous message should feel positive and focused on the other person. You want it to be unbiased and definitely free of any of that passive-aggressive stuff. Sometimes it's the simple things, like using please and thank you. They go such a long way in showing respect and making the other person much more open to hearing what you have to say. Okay, so we have made it through all 7 principles. Let's pull this all together and see how this simple checklist really can become your own personal communication superpower. So let's do a super quick recap. Clear is about having one goal. Correct is all about accuracy. Complete means giving them the whole picture. Concrete is using solid facts. Concise is keeping it short and sweet. Consideration is thinking about them. And courteous is just being respectful. This is such a great guide to keep in your back pocket. And here's something really important to remember. This isn't just for emails. This checklist is a powerhouse, and it works for pretty much everything, whether you're writing a big report, giving a presentation, or even just in your day-to-day conversations. So, I have a question for you. As you go about the rest of your day today, which one of these C's are you going to consciously practice? Maybe you'll focus on being a little more concise in your text messages, or maybe making sure your next work email is truly complete. Think about it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found it helpful, it will be wonderful if you could like and share it, and of course, subscribe to Cognito Key for more insights. I'll see you next time.